What's up, everyone? I'm here with Meghan LeVota. I'm sure that
Hello.
many of you actually know her. I talk about her a lot on my channel. We're cool. We're friends on Twitter and everything. We've actually known each other for a while now.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Meghan LeVota, if we have not already met. I'm an ENFJ, and I made my first YouTube video in 2015 just for fun because I've been interested in personality stuff since like 2012, and it's always been a hobby of mine. And even from back then, when I posted my first video, I wasn't seeing that many ENFJs, and I was just trying to connect with other ENFJs. I never understood as how like INFJs have like auxiliary FE and we have auxiliary NI, but for some reason everyone talks about INFJ's wonderful people skills, but nobody talks about ENFJ's wonderful intuition. Like, hello. I mean, it's like INFJs have their pros and cons, and like so do we, and like I don't know, like I feel like we were very similarly motivated of being like, no one's talking about this,
Yeah, and I think that that's what I was gathering from your videos too.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to be a voice out there for the ENFJs and help them be able, to help other people be able to see, like, hey, INFJs are amazing, but so is every other type. And oh, look, I'm an ENFJ. Hopefully, for me being my authentic self, then you could see like one representation. I don't represent all of them, but one representation of how the ENFJ can come out. And oh, they aren't just like, somebody commented recently on one of my videos saying like, I thought y'all were just some feeler goofballs. And I'm like, really? Like, I don't get that, but I mean, okay,
I also think too, like, we both, at least for me, like I was very much diving into my NI and growing my NI around that point. And I think that I saw an opportunity, and maybe you did as well, of like wanting to help ENFJs not feel like we have to always be doing things for other people. And I think that's why self-growth is so important to me, because I've just lived so much of my life doing things for other people that like now I'm trying to help people, especially ENFJs. Like I want to be able to help everyone understand themselves, but I have even more of a vested interest in explaining the ENFJ, because I know like how hard it can be to detach from everyone's expectations of you and stuff, So I've been sort of doing that as a hobby, and for self-expression since then. I really started posting more in 2017, but I have a journalism degree. I'm really interested in digital media. I work in social media right now, and I am a master's in organizational psychology student, and I hope to sort of combine like my interest in Carl Jung and Jungian personality with what I'm also learning in psychology now to do sort of like consulting and coaching work eventually. Well, I mean, I'm sort of dabbling in that stuff now, but I'm very much theorizing how, I mean, at this point, I've been interested in this stuff so long that it's sort of like, I don't think this is a phase. It's not a phase, Mom. Like it's like I feel like must be a reason why I'm so obsessed with this stuff, and that I keep having realizations and theories about the stuff that I do want to continue to create discussions, because personally I think that people misunderstand each other so much. And like, for example, like what I've been learning about in my psychology classes, there's like we had this whole chapter on conflict, and it was talking about how, there's two types of conflict. There's the motivational one, where it's like people are maybe even too lazy or have wrong intentions. And then there's also the one where it's like the system just isn't working properly, and like things aren't moving together. And I think so much of conflict literally doesn't even need to exist. It's just because we aren't interpreting each other correctly, or we have different, it's just, I see these things in people all the time, that I, like with my best friend who's an ENFP, using this system of like cognitive functions and personality type, I've been able to mend conflicts from understanding that not everyone thinks the way that I do. And I just, the power that I've seen in that has been so impactful in my own life, in the ways that I've been able to shift the way that I communicate, so that I'm more understood, and so that I'm more understanding the other person. It's just been so powerful that I am very passionate about helping each other create, or helping people understand themselves better so that they can communicate better, and then have more meaningful relationships where they understand the other person better, and like hopefully eliminate like a lot of unnecessary bullshit, and help people just have everyone just work together more smoothly, you know?
I'm totally with all of that. I'm not even, that's the exact motivation that I have behind why I got into it and everything. I want to help everyone to be able to better understand themselves, and to then better understand everybody else, so that, just like you said, like, so that we can get through all of the bad, mojo and all of that that's going on in the BS, pretty much.
Yeah. And I don't ever think it's anyone's fault. I never think it's anyone's fault, you know? Like, it just is there. It's just like messy.
We were just talking about, unnecessary conflict. And I think not that nines are the only types that do this clearly, but I think that that's a huge marker for me as a nine. I'm always thinking, as an ENFJ nine at that. And then I'm a social, so then that also like adds another twist to it. But
so how do you respond to unnecessary conflict? How would you describe that? I mean, I think I know, but I want to hear how you'd say it.
Yes. So for me, okay, so I'd say that, first of all, I view unnecessary conflict as, if I can solve this, if I can bring harmony with this little collateral damage. And I think that we talked about this in our video too, so back when I still thought that I was a nine or whatever. But like, if I can look at the situation, then I'm thinking, okay, what are the best ways to avoid as many snags as possible? Oh, if we say this, or if we do it in this way, that might cause tension over here. If we do it this way, that might, so I'm like running all of these simulations, like, okay, I think this is the most clear path. The most clear is in like, yeah, you might still run into some things over here and over there, and you might have to like go a little bit further, and you might have to do a little bit more extra work. But at the end of the day, there's going to be so much less collateral, as opposed to if you just took this route. Now you kind of like, you still have a lot of like other conflicting matters in this sense. And so for me, it's like, I'm not necessarily afraid to attack the conflict, especially being a social nine and then also being an ENFJ. So I think that kind of gives me an advantage, because being an FE dominant, it's like I see all of the lines between people. So I see the connection between me and you. I see the connection between me and Angela. I see the connection between Angela and Marianne, whoever. But then if I see like a red line, then my attention immediately goes to that. It's like, oh, all of these other lines are white. That one is red. How can I make that white again? White being the symbol of like, purity or like health. And and it's like, okay, what are the best ways to be able to meddle with that without actually causing some type of damage, or, anything to like go wrong? Because the moment that I jump in and things go wrong, then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, like what happened? So I have to,
you know what twos want to do is save the day. It's like twos want to be, especially sexual twos, somebody's like special friend, like they're everything. That's where the pride comes in. Like, it's not always pretty, it's not always pretty. It's like, when I see the unnecessary conflicts, I want to solve it. I think as a sexual versus social, it could be very tribal. It could be this is what I'm fighting for. And it's not about social peace. It's about it's like, at the end of the day, I want my best friends to be proud of me.
Got you.
I want to have strong connections with my people. Like, And if I can do something that is going to be a voice for my people, then, and that helps them and inspires them. I mean, this goes back to what we were talking about with like when we were first discovering that we were ENFJs. Like, I know how hard it's been for me to try and let go of what people think about me, and I still make so many decisions based on what people think about me, and I don't want to be that way. And if I can be that person to help, even if I'm just inspiring one person to be themselves, like that's what I want to do, you know? And I mean, like, to sort of want to be like, and that's the negative that, I mean, I'm kind of disgusted by it, honestly. Like Mother Teresa, like whatever. I craft this image that is likable to the audience that I'm fighting, or that I want.
Got you.
And to the point where I can never live up to that. Like, and I always am overcommitting myself. I'm always doing things and then like not feeling respected or not feeling like appreciated. And then it's like, well, no one asked you to do it. You know, that thing where it's like, after everything I've done for you, this is what you do. And it's like, I never asked you to do that. Stop being so damn pushy. Like, that's the thing of like, I want to swoop in and save the day.
I have a lot of 2s in my life. And I think that in a way, I kind of like them because of that reason. Like, you're saying like, oh, you know, that's like manipulation or something. But in actuality, because I value consistency and loyalty so heavily, then it's like, oh, well, if this person needs me to need them because in some way they need me, then cool. I guess that means that we're both kind of like bonded to each other. And then I personally have a problem with that, because that's almost like a guarantee that, well, then that means that you want this as badly as I do. So we're actually going to stick together, because not necessarily that we're like codependent, but like,
that's the thing. I've been so like codependent. Like once I do have that person, like, especially like with my girlfriend, for example, like I am so like, I don't even know where I'm going with that. I forget what I was going to say, actually. I was going to say that every Enneagram type has like a total, like everyone has like an ego and like something that's sort of not like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, bad, or like maybe like a more negative associations. Like for me, I get my ego boost when I am helping someone, especially when it's like a surprise, and especially if it's someone I really care about, but like sort of doing something before them that they didn't even ask for, or like giving them the advice that they needed, or like or saying like, oh my goodness, like you've changed my life, or oh my goodness, you said that one thing that now I can't stop thinking about. Like, I do the things to create those situations in my life, but as a sexual dom, like with the people that I want to merge with.
Right. That was actually going to be my question for you. So we were talking about like, you know, you're looking for your tribe and you're trying to, as a sexual dominant, and which, by the way, like I've told you, like I've been reading like about all of the Enneagram types and the specific subtypes as well. So I was going to actually read a second.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but after this question though, because I'm curious, what would you say are like, who are your people? You know, because you're speaking about,
that's a good question.
Like you defend, and I see it in my head almost as like, as long as these people are okay, as long as I'm protecting them, and this isn't as mean, I guess, as it might sound, but it's like, as long as these people are okay, I don't really give an F about the people out here.
It's not even like that I don't give an F. It's that I'm trying to be intentional.
Got you.
Let me just ask you a question as you continue. So would you say, and maybe this is a social 9 thing, are you trying to merge with the group?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm trying to find my BFFs.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, like, if I'm in, and this is like a metaphor, but like, I'm like, okay, who looks cool? Oh, I'm going to go over next to the snack table because anyone who's cool hangs out with the snack table, and then I'm going to be friends with them. Like, but it's like based on like my interests or like me, like, I don't know. But like, I'm like looking for a buffer. Like, I'm not looking for how can I make this a group, or how can I fit into the group? Because I guess the way I see it is I either fit into the group or I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, because the world is so big and there's so many different people, and it's impossible to get along with everyone, you know?
Right. I think,
and I would rather be at a good, I'd rather just have like a good opinion of from afar someone than try and merge when the merging doesn't work.
Yeah. I think for me in my head, because it definitely makes sense, you being SX, SO, and then me being SO, SX, the way that I've described it in the past is kind of like, I'm not Jesus, of course, but Jesus had his 12 disciples. So I would see the 12 disciples as my group. But then after I've established, like, okay, I'm a part of this group, that's when now Jesus had his 3 or 4 disciples that he was closest with, you know, Peter, you know, stuff like that. And so after I've like, you know, I have good rapport with everybody in the group, I don't have to be their best friends. In fact, I'm not aiming to be their best friends because I don't want to spread myself too thin. I at least want to have like the baseline level of like everyone be like, oh, Denzel's a cool person, or, you know, like if I wanted to go talk to them, like it's smooth, like, you know, like they at least have at least a baseline of who I am, but there's not like really intimacy, because from merging with the group, that's when I start spotting the people who I want to be intimate with.
Wait, so that would be social sexual, as in you do that and then go to the intimate after you've established that merging with the group?
Yes, that's my experience. Yeah. So with me, but then for me, it's like I'm still keeping that rapport with the group. I'm still, because then even though I'm not best friends with everybody in the group, like when I in college and everything, in all of my classes, everyone liked me, and it wasn't because I'm like trying so hard to get everybody to like me, but I guess like I just naturally knew how to interact with people, or even not really interact with people, but like there were people who I never really talked to, but when we did start talking, like if I ran into a friend who was friends with that person, it's happened several times. Like Jamila's here and she's just always like, wow. And then they'll just be like, you know, Denzel, every time I see you, you always give me a nice smile. And you're always like, you know, like I don't even say anything to the person, but just simple, small things like that gives them a good perception of me, even though I didn't necessarily like work like, oh, you know, I'm going to smile at this person so they can like me. It's more just like, I want to be able to have peace with everyone. And then those who I'm actually close to, those are the people that so after I've like merged.
Well, you have that desire to have peace.
Yeah. I'm going to finally just read this. So this is the complete Enneagram, 27 paths to greater self-knowledge. They have like small sections. I'm not going to read the whole section of each one, but this is like the first part of the social 9. Social 9, so that's what I am. Social 9s express the passion of psychological laziness or sloth through merging with the group, working hard in support of group interests and prioritizing the group's needs above their own. Social 9s are congenial characters with the need to feel like they're a part of things, a need that expresses an underlying feeling of being different or not fitting in with the group or community. This person is a lighthearted, sociable, fun-loving character who expresses a driving need to be involved in the group. This feeling, so now I'm just reading like the highlighted parts. This feeling drives the social 9 to overcompensate by being generous and sacrificing whatever is necessary to meet the needs of the group as a way of earning membership. They work twice as hard.
Earning membership. That's so interesting.
Yeah, that's it's funny because I've literally had teachers tell my parents this all the time, like, oh, and I've said it in podcasts that I've featured in and everything, but I never attributed it to Enneagram. But this constant thing that they always said was like, Denzel is so smart, but he always wants to fit in with like the cool kids or whatever, you know, something like that.
I never had that issue.
Yeah, that was a big issue for me. It's like the teachers wanted me to like, why do you want to like be with them so much? And it's like, that was my problem. So, and it literally says here, like, social nines can be workaholics. They feel a need to work hard and give a lot, but it's not just work. They energetically demonstrate friendliness and sociability. They don't show their pain. They don't burden others, and they don't show people how much energy it takes to devote so much effort to the community. These are people who are generous and unselfish, mindful of the group, and gifted in meeting the needs of others to the point where they sacrifice themselves to satisfy the responsibility others want to put on them.
Sometimes I don't even feel like I'm missing out on like vibing with the whole thing, because I'm like trying to like pull people into a corner. And like, I've heard like twos, especially sexual twos, described as being like seductive in that way.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about that as well. Like, okay, so the first paragraph here says like sexual two is a seducer of particular individuals. Classical seduction is the main approach of this two, who expresses a driving need to seduce other people as a way of getting their needs met. This seduction, a way of gaining allegiance or inflaming the desire of the other, occurs through cultivation of an attractive presentation and the expression of feeling. Sexual two is generous, flexible, somewhat wild, action-oriented two who is not afraid to woo others by using sexuality as a weapon of conquest. And then she goes on to like talk more about that.
So I'm curious how they're even defining sexuality, but I think as far as sexual, what the thing that comes to my mind is intimacy. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think it's necessarily saying like, oh, I'm gonna like flaunt my body or anything like that. Like, is that what I don't think it necessarily means like sexual as in like that.
And that's what I was honestly wondering, because then that's actually the main reason why before like before I was like, well, if Megan's a two, are we sure that she's a sexual two? Because like I said, like I don't see that, because when I was reading about it, and I know sexual twos who are like the pictures that they'll post, no offense to them, like
I'm not
posts and stuff like that, and even the way they act, it's like, okay. And then over here it says the sexual two displays the clearest tendencies towards seduction in the classical sense.
I definitely have been like that when I'm single. Like I wonder if a censor, I'm not trying to like diss on censor, but like, it's like I wonder if a censor would be more inclined to show off certain things more. I mean, like, I'm not like like, let's say like when I was like single, like I would be doing that like with my ideas. Like I would even like, if I like someone who I knew this was their favorite band, I would like talk about it, or like I still am trying to seduce, like very much so. I mean, even like with my friends, like if I've decided that someone's gonna be my friend, then like all of a sudden like we're BFF. Like, okay, so I never thought I was hot in high school because I never dated anyone, and everyone I tried to date rejected me, and I cried about it all night. Oh. Like I would like journal about, I want this person to like me. I would like try and manifest like one guy. I would like write their name over and over and be like, I need them to like me. Like, and then they didn't like me. And so whatever, like that was like a part of my past. Like I go to college, I'm 18, I go to my first frat party, I get attention, and I'm like, oh, I've got attention. That's strange. I've never had that before. And then my freshman year of college, I would like go to frat parties and dance with people and then try and get them to like make out with me and then run away. Like,
okay. It's Megan is a sexual too. If anybody's ever doubted, she's just evolved, or she's kept it hidden now. What would you, and I wouldn't be offended if you like pointed it out for sure, but like, what would you say then like is the distinction between how we're going about things?
Well, and so I'm going to sort of speak a little unfiltered here and correct me if I'm like wrong. But it's like sometimes I can perceive nines as wanting everybody to be the same. and wanting to pretend like it's possible for us to really all get along, when like I want to all get along, but I'm not going to be any less of me to make you happy, because I want to be loved for who I am.
Right.
Like, and so it's like sometimes nines can seem like kind of a wet blanket, or like kind of like not really being themselves, or like kind of merging with, you know, what they think is okay. And what I think is, if everybody is naturally sharing ideas and being who they are, then we're going to all naturally find that, you know, that middle ground, you know, because I mean, I believe, and it doesn't have to be, and I mean, I'm always going to be kind and respectful to different beliefs. And if I could recognize that we're different, I'm not going to want to push it. I'm not going to want to make them then come to my side, because I think that if they're interested, then they can. But, you know, I'm never like, I mean, I made a video that was talking about like how I think that like the patriarchy and like the way we view femininity and masculinity impacts the thinking and feeling dichotomy. And sometimes people test incorrectly. And I said at the beginning of that video, I said, I'm not interested in debating whether or not there is a patriarchy. This video is sort of under the assumption that there is. I encourage you to do your own research. And I just am not interested. And see, that was me trying to not argue. But then some people viewed that as divisive. But like, I just know how strongly that I believe in feminist issues, to where I wouldn't want to engage in an unnecessary argument that isn't going to lead anywhere, because I don't really see myself not being a feminist anytime soon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I want to be able to be who I am. And it's not that I'm not curious about the other ways, or about other ways of being. It's just that I think that the spice of life, like, it's so beautiful that we all have these different stances. Like, even like with understanding personality type, we all, you know, there's different functions that we value.
Right.
And sometimes those things just naturally, I mean, I did a video too once about saying that we should learn to play bumper cars, and sometimes like FE and TE, for example, is going to be like that. But like, it doesn't have to be a fight. It could be fun, you know? It could be a learning experience. And you can just sort of be like, oh, whoops, up, boop. Like, I'm not afraid of conflict, because I think, and also there is the idea of constructive conflict that I was recently learning about too, which is actually a term in psychology. But like, it could be a learning experience for all involved, where like, for example, like, as opposed to trying to really create peace between like maybe pro-life, pro-choice, I want to really understand my side and feel like I belong with my people. And also, when the conflict naturally arises, I'm going to learn more about myself and integrate more of their idea naturally. You know, I think that that's a natural process of, sorry, I'm sort of rambling.
No, you're good. I think, well, so it still sounded the same. But I'll start with like your first point. Like, so you said that it seems like, you know, we want everybody to be the same. And I think that yes and no, and I can't speak for every nine, of course, but I think for me, it's like, the only way that I want everybody to be the same is in their respect for other people. So,
yeah.
So like, if we can go with your example, then I once again, the biggest thing that I ascribe to is Christianity. I made a video. My latest video was on trusting God's timing. And similar to like what you said, like, you know, about the patriarchy and all of that, I said at the beginning, like, this video is geared toward people who actually already believe in God. This doesn't mean that the people who don't believe in God can't watch. But if you're going to comment, like, you know, like, oh, you know, like, well, God isn't real and blah, blah. Okay, I'm going to ignore you, because this isn't for you. This is for the people who believe in God and who follow the Bible. And
that's so funny you said something so similar. Because
it's like, this is what it is. And so I can still, once again, continue to clarify and speak to my people. But at the same time, when I am talking to the people who don't believe in God, or, you know, who just have like differing views, I don't have to be in any way like disrespectful while losing myself either. Like I'm not gonna then act as if like, oh, you know, like I mean, God isn't, you know, like I'm not gonna act like that. But I also don't want them to impose on me. So that's what I mean by like we could still live in harmony. So right now I'm thinking of like, I don't know if you ever watched like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I haven't.
Okay. Well, pretty much like the four nations, they all, you know, lived in harmony until the Fire Nation attacked, you know, like, and the Fire Nation, quote unquote, is like the nation that all of a sudden is like, oh, now our way is better, even though there's three other nations who they have their separate way of living.
It's funny that that's the fire, because I wonder if that correlates with astrology or the elements at all.
It probably could.
Because I'm a fire sign. And my first thought is, well, what's wrong with thinking that your way is better? Shouldn't you? Why are you going by it if you don't think it's better? It doesn't mean that you have to get people to stop being who they are. Like, what's wrong with that? But then I also think, like, too, their thing is pride. And it's funny because Leos are also very prideful. But also there's four elements. I mean, this is dumb, I guess, but like there's four elements for a reason. Like water sets up fire, but that doesn't mean like water and fire both deserve to exist.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I just want everyone to feel like they can exist.
I think that's what it is with the 9, as in like not in a superior manner, but it's like it's hard to be able to say my way is better when you can see so much of everything.
Better for you.
You know, okay, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean, isn't that what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, you know, it's like this is better for me, and that's why I continue to say clarify rather than coerce. I'm not gonna coerce you as in like you must follow me.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that either.
In where I'm at. So I'm gonna clarify, like, no, this is where I stand, this is what I believe, all of that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna force you here, and I'm not going to say anything bad about yours. I do believe what I believe for whatever reason, and I'm going to stick to that until proven otherwise. But that doesn't necessarily, but like when it comes to like me saying like my way is, I guess, like objectively better, I wouldn't necessarily say that because I think so much of like how subjective we
are. So do you not think that anything, I mean, I think, isn't it like natural to think that what you stand for is better? Like, why else would you stand for it? Like, I wouldn't want to stand for anything unless I thought it was better.
I think that's kind of going back to like what you said about better for me, but because I can see how,
but what's wrong with saying something's better in general? It seems like that fear of conflict that I just don't relate to. Like, for example,
okay, I think, yeah. So now we're here. So that,
yeah, because for example, like if I was to say like politically, I think this law is better for the country. I think it's better objectively. I might be wrong. And if you think that another law is better, I'm more than happy to hear you out.
And I'm not going to tell you like, oh, well, you know, I think that this is better because yada, yada, yada. And so I would tell you like, this is my idea. This is my reasoning. And we could talk about it that way. But I guess like at the end of the day, all that I can do is continue to clarify why I believe that this is probably the better reasoning. Even like, so for example, like in the last video, we talked about like how our different ways of going about harmony, which now that we know the difference in our Enneagram types, it's like, oh, that makes sense. So intrinsically, I could probably think like, hey, you know, my way is quote unquote better. But then at the same time, it's like, then again, maybe
I just don't think that I've ever imposed what I believe onto anyone. And I don't really understand that. Like, well, I don't want anyone to follow, like, don't follow me then, you know, like I don't understand. Like, I never want anyone to just do what I'm doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just do you, please. You know, like that's where I'm coming from. Like, but yeah, like, I mean, I'm not afraid of saying what I think is best, you know?